Recording in progress.
ลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลา
เพิ่งเคยเป็นลูกกูจะไปสนประสีภาษาอะไรกันลูกและหลานนั่นคือความใฝ่ฝันของคนเป็นแม่และยายอย่าร้องไห้ถ้าใครมาบ่นด่าว่าลูกใช้ชีวิตอย่างไร้จุดหมายแม่จะอยู่เคียงข้างตราบจนถึงวันสุดท้ายหน้าไหนอย่าหมายมาดูถูกลูกกูอย่าหันไปมองเวลาแม่หนูถูกทำร้ายไม่เป็นไรไม่เป็นไรยายยังอยู่หนูไม่ใช่ตัวคนเดียวที่จะสู้ผิดถูกไม่รู้กูแม่มึงหากกูทิ้งพวกมึงไปใครหน้าไหนเป็นที่พึ่งจะหวังหาเหวอะไรกับญาติมึงต้องอย่ามัวมาซึ้งลุกสู้ชะตากรรมปัญญาแม่ไม่มีมากพอขอโทษที่คำสอนทำให้เจ็บช้ำอย่าพึ่งท้อสู้ต่อแม้เหนื่อยกายมึงไม่ตายง่ายๆหรอกเชื่อกูช่างขี้ปากคนข้างบ้านเถิดเกิดเป็นลูกกูมันไม่ใช่เรื่องเสียหายอย่าดูถูกลูกของมึงอย่าหวังไปพึ่งมันบอกให้มันรู้พึ่งตัวเองให้ได้อย่าเป็นเหมือนกูมึงต้องอยู่เพื่อลูกของมึงอย่าร่ำไรออกไปทำงานร้องไห้หน้ารำคาญอย่ามัวมาซึ้งมองหน้ากูแล้วมองหน้าลูกของมึงต้องพึ่งตัวเองจำไว้
จำเลยได้กระทำผิดฐานพรบยาเสพติดมียาเสพติดไว้ในครอบครองศาลเห็นเป็นการสมควรให้จำเลยจำคุก
เผยชมหน้าของชะตากรรมที่ทำทารุณกรรมต่อเด็กหญิงไร้พ่อผู้พิพากษาแห่งสัจธรรมบอกให้พออย่าเรียกร้องต่อมันเป็นเช่นนั้นเองตัดสินให้ลูกอย่ามีปมด้อยจงเชื่อถ้อยความของยายนะคนเก่งเข้มแข็งไว้ยายจะเลี้ยงหนูเองใครข่มเหงบอกว่าเป็นลูกยายจงเติบโตเบ่งบานอย่างหาญกล้าอย่ารอใช้วาสนาที่ขาดหายพรแสวงสู่สวรรค์จะสบายคือความหมายชีวิตคิดเอาไว้ลูกคือผู้บริสุทธิ์นี่คือความยุติธรรมได้แม่ลำบากใช่ว่าจะมากมายกฎหมายชะตากรรมคือของจริงลูกโตมาอย่าตัดสินพ่ออย่าร้องขอสิทธิ์ใดในทุกสิ่งทำเป็นไปให้เห็นจริงเมื่อนั้นจึงถึงซึ่งเป็นธรรมหนูโตมาอย่ากล่าวโทษแม่ยายคือจำเลยแก้ต่างที่เจ็บช้ำคือส่วนผิดตราบาปให้หลาบจำแม่เองที่ทำให้ลำบากและยากเย็นพิพากษาให้หนูคือผู้บริสุทธิ์ให้ยุติคดีชีวิตอันแสนเข็ญกลับไปอยู่กับยายให้ร่มเย็นแม้นไม่เป็นอย่างที่คิด
ปิดคดี
ลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลา
ลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลากว่าจะได้รู้มองและเห็นคุณค่าก็เมื่อถึงเวลาที่ต้องสูญเสียสิ้นไปเจ็บแล้วก็จบพบแล้วก็จากไม่มีสิ่งใดแน่นอนลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาลาล ลาลาลาลาลาลา
ตาครับลูกตาก่อปัญหาทำนั่นน่ะเนี่ยล่าละออนคนนี้ไว้ถ้าตามเลี่ยงผมจะเอาไปให้
ไม่เป็นไรหมอ
ที่นะ
หลานกูเลี้ยงเอง
ชีวิตแสนยากเย็นชีวิตแสนวุ่นวายอยากมีแม่ขอแค่มีอยากเป็นพี่ให้ใครสักคนแต่ไม่เหลือแม้ครอบครัวเท่าที่มีก็แสนปองอาจเดินลงผิดเส้นทางก็เป็นเพียงวัยรุ่นคนหนึ่งแตกไปแล้วไม่มีชิ้นดีชีวิตนี้สิ้นไร้หนทางให้เดินในวันเหงามองหาใครฉันเลี้ยวไปเห็นภาพครอบครัวของเราหน้าฉันนั้นเหมือนแม่โอ้โอ้หน้าฉันนั้นเหมือนพ่อโอ้โอ้ในภาพนั้นภาพครอบครัวมีผู้หญิงยืนยิ้มและอุ้มฉันอยู่แม่ช่างเหมือนดอกไม้บานที่ทำให้โลกนี้งดงามแต่ดอกไม้ก็เปลี่ยนแปลงตัวเองเพื่อให้ฉันนั้นได้เบ่งบานช่วงเวลาคืนวันที่เสียไปจะเก็บไว้ในใจไม่ให้ลืมจะจดจำภาพแม่นั้นไม่ให้ลืมจะจดจำภาพพ่อนั้นไม่ให้ลืมลูกไม่พ่อลูกไม่มีแม่ลูกไม่พ่อไอ้ลูกไม่มีแม่ลูกไม่พ่อไอ้ลูกไม่มีแม่ลูกไม่พ่อไอ้ลูกไม่มีแม่ลูกไม่พ่อไอ้ลูกไม่มีแม่ลูกไม่พ่อไอ้ลูกไม่มีแม่แม่ดูดิเราไม่สามารถเลิกครอบครัวได้และเราไม่สามารถลาออกจากการเป็นครอบครัวได้ ครูมันต่อยผม
คนเคยบอกกับฉันว่าดอกไม้มักโตเข้าหาแสงฉันรีบเด็ดดอกไม้ทั้งที่เพิ่งปลูกมันเมื่อวานความคาดหวังถูกสร้างด้วยอิฐหินปูนทรายที่หนักอึ้งเสียงตะโกนจากฝั่งคุณธรรมแว่วมาถ้าทำผิดอีกครั้งไม่ต้องเรียกกูว่าพ่อเด็กน้อยเดินหลงทางเข้าไปซุกใต้สะพานฝั่งโจรเสียแล้วฉันจะติดตามเธอไปเพื่อที่จะได้กล่าวคำว่าฉันเองที่ผิดฉันมันก็แค่ไอ้ครูอวดดีคน
จะมีสิ่งใดเหมือนเดิมเด็กหนุ่มเมื่อวันนั้นได้เปลี่ยนไปสองข้างทางแปลกตาเปลี่ยนไปไม่เหมือนเก่าวันวานผ่านพ้นไปจากเราลับหายไปหรือยังคงอยู่ความทรงจำวิ่งแล่นสวนมาฉันไขว่คว้า2 เดือนแล้วที่มึงเขียนอะไรเนี่ยทำได้แค่นี้เหรอมึงต้องการเปลี่ยนแปลงอะไรเปิ้นคือว่าลายไทยควรมีวิวัฒนาการและมีการพัฒนานี่ไม่ใช่การเมืองนี่มันกระดูกเปรี้ยวของกูนี่ไม่ใช่บริษัทขายเครื่องมือสื่อสารที่ต้องมีการเปลี่ยนรุ่นใหม่ทุก3 เดือน 6 เดือนนี่ไม่ใช่เรื่องหน้าผมที่ต้องมีการเปลี่ยนแปลงทุก3 ฤดูอันก็แสดงว่าจะไปยอมรับความคิดคนรุ่นใหม่มั้ยเนาะและจะไปยอมรับการเปลี่ยนแปลงเลยมั้ยเนาะเปลี่ยนแปลงได้แต่ต้องไม่ใช่กระดูกเปรี้ยวของกูไงประเทศไทยของกูถูกเปลี่ยนแปลงมามากน้อยแค่ไหนแล้วมันเหลืออะไรไม่ลูกหลานมันบ้างถ้ามึงอยากจะเปลี่ยนแปลงจริงๆทำไมมึงไม่เอากระดูกเปรี้ยวไปใส่ในภาพแข่งงานฝรั่งต่างชาติมันดีกว่าไทยมากแค่ไหนมันดีกว่าเรามากนักเหรอขนมเปรี้ยวถูกกินคนแล้วเป็นกลายเป็นสุดยอดของรายแล้วไทยไม่สามารถเป็นที่ไหนได้อีกราคายอดหางไหลและ100 บาทนี่ไม่ใช่อะไรไทยไม่ใช่การสืบพันธุ์เปิ้นกับปัจจัยยาเขียนร้ายอย่างนี้เหรอเปิ้นอยากเป็นหมอเปิ้นอยากเป็นหมอแต่น่ะแต่มึงชอบวาดรูปมึงชอบศิลปะหนังแล้วมีความสุขมึงต้องทำมันต่อไปใช่เป็นอย่างยากเพื่อปอไงไม่ต้องมาทำกับกูอีก10 ปี 20 ปีกูก็ตายหาแล้วอย่าไล่ เดี๋ยวนี้ถ้ามึงเขียนไม่ได้มึงไม่ได้ลูกกูอุ้ยมาง่ายๆแบบนี้มึงเขียนไม่ได้กูรู้นะมึงแอบไปเที่ยวชีวะมากับเพื่อนน่ะแต่สมัยช่วงโควิดจะให้เนี่ยได้เอาเวลาที่ไหนไปอ่านหนังสืออ่ะมันยังเนื้อหรอวะย้อนอุ้ยเป็นอย่างนี้นะกะแม่งล่างไปนะโอ้ยนี่ ตื่นขึ้นมาพบว่าฉันแก่ลงเสียแล้ว ยังคงคิดว่าเจ้านั้นดื้อรั้นและเป็นเด็กตัวเล็กๆทั้งที่ตอนนี้เริ่มโตเพราะทั้งชีวิตพอยังไม่รู้อีกมากมายพอจึงแสนเสียดายที่สอนเจ้าไม่ได้อยากให้เจ้าเติบโตได้ดีได้ค้นหาใจตัวเองได้มากกว่าที่พ่อเคยลำบากมาเลยบอกได้เท่านี้ตั้งใจเรียนสาถูกบังคับมาเกินไปโดยซ้ำทำงานไปสาฉันยังทำไม่ได้อย่างที่สอนเลยอย่าไปเล่นยาผิดบ้างไหมที่คอยบังคับให้เดินอยากปล่อยให้เจ้าเลือกเส้นทางเคยคิดว่าใช้ชีวิตนี้มายาวนานแต่ว่าผมอายุแค่17 ปียังอยากเป็นลูกหลานที่พ่อเลี้ยงดูมาแต่ดื้อรั้นเกเรไม่เคยยอมโตผมก็ยังไม่รู้อะไรอีกมากมายแค่อยากหนีไปจากกรอบที่วางแต่พอยังสอนซ้ำไปซ้ำมาจนน่าเบื่อพ
พอฝืนทำตามพอขอเลยทอดใจนี้ตั้งใจเรียนสาพอก็รู้ที่เรียนมันนั่งนะทำงานไปสาพยายามจะทำอยู่อย่าไปเล่นยาก็ไม่เคยจะเชื่อใจกันปล่อยผมไปตามทางเธอขอที่ทำให้อึดอัดใจกลายเป็นปมให้คนมองโปรดยกโทษให้พ่อคนนี้บอกสิว่าจะเป็นพ่อที่ดีกว่าพ่อคนนี้สัญญากับพ่อเด็กดีขอเสียงปรบมือด้วยครับ
Vocational Training Center 7, Chiang Mai Province, sure are captivating and heart our minds.
Can you explain a little bit about the show list?
Yes, so if you can see the translation right here, his mistaken style of life using the selling drugs, this boy is locked up in his dreams and confined to. He learns his lessons and optimizes his detention time to make himself a better future.
ค่ะที่จบไปก็เป็นการแสดงโชว์เกี่ยวกับเด็กนะคะที่เกี่ยวข้องกับยาเสพติดจนเข้าสู่ระบบยุติธรรมและได้จงจำความฝันของเขาและโอกาสจนเขาได้เรียนรู้และพยายามปรับเปลี่ยนแล้วก็พัฒนาตัวเองขึ้นมาใหม่นะคะ
We will now have our opening ceremony and I'll be reading a list of the VVIPs and when I call their names I ask that they either stand up or raise their hand just so they can be recognized. So starting off with General Counsel Ms. Lisa A. Buzenas. Then we have Mr. Andrew Laley, Associate Professor Winita Punyodom. Then we have Dr. Kevin Mulvey. Okay. We have Miss Ann Chick, International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs Section. Mr. William McGlynn, International Narcotics Law Enforcement Affairs Section. We have Mr. Darren G. Lockey.
Mahidol ICUDDR.
We have Mr. Benedikt Hofmann.
Deputy Regional Representative UNODC Southern East Asia and the Pacific.
We have Dr. Apinun.
Dr. Apinun Aramrattana, Substance Abuse Academic Foundation.
We have Dr. Prapapun.
Chuchareon, Asia Pacific IDCUDDR Thailand.
We have Miss Emma Tong.
The U.S. Consulate in Chiang Mai, Thailand.
Then we have Miss Montakang.
Miss Montakan Tanchai Sawat, the U.S. Consulate in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Okay, don't have, sorry.
All right. So good morning to General Consul Miss Lisa Buzenas, executives, and organizing committee for the ICDDR, Chiang Mai University, the International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs section, and esteemed speakers and presenters. I welcome you once again to the joint conference of ICUDDR's annual conference 2023 and Thailand's Addiction Scientific Conference 2023 and UNICEF Chiang Mai University. I am Jordan Turner and I'm an intern at ICUDDR.
สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันนันทภัทร เรือนประเสริฐค่ะ จากภาควิชาเวชศาสตร์ครอบครัว คณะแพทยศาสตร์ มหาวิทยาลัยเชียงใหม่ค่ะ ในนามของผู้จัดการประชุมวิชาการวิทยาศาสตร์การเสพติดประจำปี 2566 จัดร่วมกับการประชุมประจำปีของสมาคมความร่วมมือทางวิชาการของมหาวิทยาลัยนานาชาติเพื่อการลดอุปสงค์ต่อยาเสพติด ICUDDR Conference 2023 มีความยินดีเป็นอย่างยิ่งและขอต้อนรับทุกท่านเข้าสู่การประชุมร่วมซึ่งกำลังจะเริ่มต้นขึ้นณบัดนี้ค่ะในช่วงเวลาต่อไปนี้จะเป็นการเข้าสู่พิธีการเปิดประชุมขอเรียนเชิญดร. Kevin Mulvey Executive Director ICUDDR กล่าวต้อนรับเข้าสู่การประชุมและกล่าวแนะนำท่านกงสุลใหญ่ขอเรียนเชิญค่ะ I would like to welcome Dr. Kevin Mulvey on the stage. Thank you.
สวัสดีครับ Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed scholars and honored guests, welcome to the joint collaborative meeting between the International Consortium of Universities for Drug Demand Reduction Global Annual Conference and the 12th Thai Substance Use Conference. Those present come from all regions of the world. In fact, all 6 continents are represented. Asia and the Pacific, Africa, Latin America, the Middle East, and the US and Canada. We have a combined approximate group of 400 individuals representing 35 countries, plus representatives from UNODC, WHO, the Colombo Plan, Global Fund, and the International Narcotics and Control Board. We gather here today for the next 2 days to foster collaboration, share knowledge, and address the need to build addiction studies programs and evidence-based best practice services regarding the prevention, harm reduction, treatment, recovery on a global scale. Let us this week embark on a journey of innovation and compassion as we work together to build a healthier world. Thank you all in this room and beyond for your commitment to this crucial issue and this crucial cause. Let's make this conference a resounding success. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce to you the U.S. Consul General in Chiang Mai, Ms. Buzenas. She began her career as Consul General in Chiang Mai in August 2022. Prior to that, Ms. Buzenas was in the U.S. Embassy in Beijing as the Director of Public Engagement and concurrently acted as the Ambassador's Chief of Staff. In Washington, she served as a Special Assistant under the Secretary of State for Political Affairs and as the Office of Pakistan Affairs Economic Unit Chief. Overseas, Ms. Buzenas served at the U.S. missions to the European Union, in Brussels, 2 tours in Islamabad, Pakistan, and in Bangkok, Thailand. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Buzenas, who will give us some welcoming remarks.
Sawasdee Chao. ดิฉันรู้สึกเป็นเกียรติอย่างยิ่งที่ได้โอกาสมาวันนี้นะคะ Thank you, Kevin, for that kind introduction. My name is Lisa Buzenas. I am the U.S. Consul General for Northern Thailand, so that covers 15 provinces, including the Golden Triangle. And it's an honor to welcome all of you to Northern Thailand. As Kevin mentioned, there's 400 people from 35 countries, and it's wonderful that we can all gather here today in Chiang Mai in this annual conference. So I, again, just want to say welcome to everyone. I'd like to commend the Planning Committee and team members from Chiang Mai University Faculty of Medicine, Mahidol University, and ICUDDR for bringing us all together. I would like to give a special thanks to Dr. Winita Punyodom, Vice President of Chiang Mai University, Dr. Piyamit Sitara, Dean of the Faculty of Medicine from Mahidol University, Dr. Apinun Aramrattana, Chairman of the Executive Committee of the Substance Abuse Academic Foundation and an ICUDDR board member, Dr. Wit Kasem-Sap, Associate Professor from Mahidol University and Director of the Tobacco Control Research and Knowledge Management Center, Dr. Prapapun Chuchareon of Mahidol University, also an ICUDDR board member and Regional Coordinator for Asia and the Pacific region, as well as ICUDDR's Executive Director, Kevin Mulvey. Thank you so much. Through our cooperation, we now have a crucial opportunity, as Kevin just mentioned, before us to discuss our experiences and your research. Science and evidence-based programs rely on the sharing of research and results to find the best way to achieve our goals, namely the creation and implementation of effective and proven substance abuse prevention, treatment, and recovery support programs worldwide. On July 7th, United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken launched a global coalition to address synthetic drug threats, of which Thailand is a participant. Nearly 100 countries and international organizations came together, demonstrating the widespread concern about the issues surrounding substance abuse, disorder, and their desire to work together to combat and prevent it. Synthetic drugs are a new, constantly evolving challenge. They often are much more potent and potentially more lethal than plant-based drugs like cocaine or heroin, even though those drugs can also be extremely dangerous. Synthetic drugs can be made anywhere with widely available chemicals and equipment. They often are combined with other drugs in ways that produce unpredictable health effects, and they can be easily shipped in small quantities, undetected, for a high profit margin. Following the establishment of the Global Coalition, the United States is initiating consultations with participating countries to establish priority actions and measures to confront synthetic drugs. Partners will then collaborate in working groups to offer new solutions, drive national action, and advance initiatives to address synthetic drug threats as a policy priority. Researchers, scientists, and academics are specifically mentioned as a key resource for these coalition working groups. We hope and expect our partners to reach out to you for help in addressing the challenge of synthetic drugs over the next 18 months of the Global Coalition process. The Global Coalition will reconvene at the political level on the margins of high-level events, such as the upcoming 78th UN General Assembly in September and the UN Commission on Narcotics Drugs in March 2024. These meetings will present future opportunities to share the Global Coalition's work with a broad audience and support the advancement of international drug policy. In the meantime, the working groups are tasked with finding new initiatives and solutions to the synthetic drug problem. I know that everyone in this room has dedicated many years of study and commitment to addressing substance use disorders because we recognize the multifaceted ways that drug use is damaging our communities. We just saw an example of that on stage earlier. New psychoactive substances are proliferating faster than authorities can control them. And traffickers are evolving their methodologies to capitalize on their characteristics. Potency is feeding increased fatality rates. The world of drug trafficking is constantly changing, and we need to understand and meet this new challenge. We have seen this firsthand in northern Thailand. Drug traffickers are producing deeply concerning quantities of methamphetamines across the border in Myanmar, moving these drugs through the Golden Triangle in my consular district, across the Thai borders, and selling them across the region. Now, the United States and Thailand have an extensive, long-standing law enforcement partnership that disrupts trafficking networks and criminal organizations. We have a large Drug Enforcement Administration office under my care in Chiang Mai that works very closely with Thai law enforcement in the Golden Triangle. But as we know, that only addresses the symptoms. The rise in synthetic drugs around the world requires a new global approach. Cooperation between governments, the private sector, and academics, as well as health, social affairs, education, and justice sectors will be essential. I would like to briefly highlight the importance of the academic community. For governments, mobilizing scarce resources can be difficult, as we want to ensure that a program is effective before we fund it. Research, or the evidence to show the effectiveness of a program, takes funding and a long-term commitment. To address substance use disorders in our communities, we need to identify the best programmatic approaches. To establish effectiveness, we need sound research. And research itself takes resources and faces methodological challenges. So underlying our promotion of effective prevention, treatment, and recovery support programs is the support and cooperation of our universities and educational institutions to train the current and future workforce that will move into this very challenging area. In closing, we have a formidable problem, but we also have a wide array of information and resources to share with one another. No one needs to work on this alone. No one can do it alone. But also, we need to remain aware that the landscape of our problem is changing. As we learned during the pandemic, for better and worse, transportation and communication are much easier than 40 years ago. They are the backbone of our cooperation, but they also facilitate the expansion of dangerous underground open drug markets. The United States remains committed to preventing drug abuse and minimizing its negative impact by connecting people to effective treatment and supporting the more than 20 million Americans and many more in Thailand worldwide who are in recovery. The United States looks forward to continuing to support you in your work and to collaborate with partners to address the synthetic drug threats. Thank you again. ขอบคุณเจ้า
So next, I would like to invite Dr. Prapapun Chuchareon, Asia Pacific ICUDDR Thailand, to deliver her welcoming speech to the stage. Please welcome.
Swadika. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On the behalf of Asia Pacific Collaboration Center, it's my pleasure to meet all of you today. I would like to express my sincere gratitude and welcome you to the ICUDDR conference. This year, we bring around the theme of the addiction science, policy, and education, growth and progress in a post-pandemic world. Thank you for a wonderful conference, which is gratitude for opportunity of addiction professional and the university to be able to meet today. So as you know, the drug abuse is a major health and social problem throughout the world and in region. The drug addiction is not hazard health, but also affect to the problem, including social problem, as you see in the performance this morning. So I hope the ICUDDR is very important role to initiate the research and training across the world, networking and mapping standardized and addiction professional. We are proud to be a member of ICUDDR as a regional collaboration center. I hope all of us, family of ICUDDR, will be continue to work together to collaborate, connect and inspire. As the world open up again from the pandemic, we are optimistic that we will be able to challenge ourselves and our peers on the paradigm shift, stepping up, add value, open culture, and research therapy. In conclusion, I wish the 3 days of very fruitful discussion and wonderful meeting. As you might already know, Chiang Mai is a city of fantastic and lovely hospitality for travelers. Thank you for all of the sponsors and organizers for conduct the conference. With a great pleasure and my prayer that everyone is staying healthy and all the good things that you will be doing in the day ahead. May you enjoy this very valuable conference and wish you all a pleasant stay in Chiang Mai ค่ะ Thank you and ขอบคุณค่ะ
Thank you so much, Dr. Prapapun Chuchareon. Next, I would like to welcome Dr. Apinun Aramrattana, Vice President of Chiang Mai University. To the stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My special thanks to our participants, especially the one who travel long and far, suffering jet lag and so on, to this city. My sincerely thanks to them and make this conference, maximize the utilities of the conference as academic conference. It will be short. Professor Winita, I would like to also tell you that there are about 20 exhibition booths downstairs and upstairs from our partners. You will see around, obviously some are in English, some are in Thai, but they try to add pictures and things, and if you would love to discuss more, we have poster session this evening. Especially thanks to some marvelous exhibition of Colombo Plan downstairs. They spent 2 days for the preparation here, so please take time visiting them, especially this evening. So we have 2 conferences in parallel. One is international one, ICUDDR. Another one is the biennial substance abuse conference of Thai National Conference, which we organize biannually. But due to COVID-19, I delayed for 3 or 4 years. And actually, after the pandemic, it's so nice to see so many friends, both nationally and internationally here. So thank you all again. And I would like to invite Professor Winita to do an opening remark, please. Thank you.
ICUDDR Executive Director, Mr. Kevin Mukhi, ICUDDR Asia Pacific Regional Coordinator, Dr. Prapapun Chuchareon, Mr. William McHugh and Ms. Anna Crick, the International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs Section, Chairman of the Organizing Committee, Mr. Apinun Aramrattana, and so welcome the invited and keynote speaker and also the overseas participants and also in Thailand. I know that there are 35 countries that we are joined together today. On behalf of the President of Chiang Mai University, it's my great honor to be a chairperson and also addressing an opening remark in the International Consortium of Universities for Drug Demand Reduction or ICUDDR, and also with the Thailand Addiction Scientific Conference that is joined together. We know that Chiang Mai University is a second city of Thailand and located in northern of Thailand, and also that we are close to the Golden Triangle. In the northern of Thailand has suffered from various waves of addiction for several decades. And also that it has been a great honor for Chiang Mai University to collaborate with the Royal Project that you already know is a world-class sustainable development program that initiated here in Chiang Mai since 1969 by our beloved King Rama IX, and also has expanded cover all opium crops areas. It has led to the end of opium problems in Thailand and enable socio-economic opportunity for poor mountainous peoples in northern remote areas. However, the disruption from globalization and the COVID-19 pandemics pose serious challenge to the achievement from the program. Addiction in our society is now spreading worldwide and also more and more complex, involving in our social and also with the younger and young age that you see from the show before. Since 2002, Chiang Mai University is signed with the Narcotic Memorandum of Understanding with the Office of Narcotics Control Board of Thailand, and aiming providing the academic support and ranking from the laboratory and clinical to field research, as well as the training program for health and non-health workforce. So since the Research Institute for Health Science and Faculty of Medicine in Chiang Mai University has been working closely with experts from relevant specialists in the university and other key of university in Thailand on the various policy relevant research. Resulting from this work that has been used by the Office of Narcotics Control Board and relevant agency in the Ministry of Health and Justice. May I mention several significant work initiated from these strong partnerships. This includes the series of the National Household Survey of Drug Abuse since 2001. The estimate of the HIV, including among the drug users in northern Thailand, and also the HIV prevention research among the injection and non-injection drug users. The national estimation study of people who inject drugs, and also the intensive technical assistance to develop the national drugs profile surveillance system, forensics monitoring system, psychosocial counseling service in court system, and also the community-based drug treatment and care model, including the legalization of the tradition of the kathom leaf that you know. This work has been properly utilized by the Office of Narcotics Control Board, the Minister of Public Health and Relevant Agency for Policy and Strategy Plan and Implementation in Thailand. The intensive technical assistance work enabled our team gain support from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration, or we call that SAM, HSA. U.S. government to conduct for 4-year HIV addiction technology transfer program for South Asia region during 2016 to 2019. The program has shared the various innovation development works with key academics and stakeholders in this region. After the region suffering from the pandemics for a few years, it is now a great opportunity to reconvene condition experts from the International University Consortium. We are pleased and sincerely thanks to the ICUDDR for choosing Chiang Mai University as a venue for annual meeting here. And I hope that this conference will bring all the dedicated experts and also the institution closer together.
The integrated work from all of you will help reduce demand on the addiction in our society and enable a safer environment from young people generation. Finally, last but not least, on behalf of the Chiang Mai University, I would like to thank the ICUDDR and also the organizing committee for the hard work putting together for this important event possible. I would like to open the conference now, and also I think that the conference have a successful event, and also that you are all from overseas with the different country will enjoy Chiang Mai province, our beloved Thailand. Thank you.
Thank you. We're almost done with the end of the opening session, or the opening ceremony. Before we proceed to Plenary 1, please be reminded that at 5 p.m. this evening, you are invited to our reception party right here, along with the poster presentations.
ก่อนที่จะจบพิธีการประชุมร่วม TASC 2023 และ ICUDDR 2023 นะคะและเริ่มเข้าสู่เนื้อหาการประชุมหัวข้อแรกขออนุญาตแจ้งเตือนทุกท่านถึงงานเลี้ยงรับรองในเวลา 5 นาฬิกาเย็นของวันนี้นะคะณห้องทองกวาวแห่งนี้พร้อมกับการนำเสนอผลงานวิชาการผ่านโปสเตอร์บริเวณหน้าห้องค่ะ
At registration, you received a conference bag with 2 books of the detailed program. Thai Diction Scientific Conference is presented on this floor, the second floor, at Cow 1 room with simultaneous English and Thai translations. And in room 2, a detailed program is showing the TASC conference book. ICUDDR conference is going to be on the first floor at the Internum room, the FICOM room, and the Buatong room. Details are in the program for the ICUDDR agenda book. Plenary means all attendees are coming, and then synopsiums are attendees selected which sessions will be attended.
เมื่อทุกท่านลงทะเบียนแล้วนะคะจะได้รับกระเป๋าของการประชุมซึ่งบรรจุเล่มโปรแกรมโดยละเอียดการประชุมวิชาการวิทยาศาสตร์การเสพติดของไทยนำเสนอณชั้น2ห้องทองกวาว1มีบริการแปลภาษาอังกฤษไทยและห้องทองกวาว2รายละเอียดของทุกหัวข้อแสดงในเล่มเอกสาร TASC 2023ส่วนการประชุม ICUDDR Conference นำเสนอณชั้นที่1ของห้องอินทนิลห้องฝ้ายคำและห้องบัวตองรายละเอียดโปรแกรมแสดงในเล่ม ICUDDR Agendaในส่วนนี้ขออนุญาตอธิบายคำศัพท์นะคะ Plenary หมายถึงการนำเสนอรวมห้องผู้เข้าร่วมรับฟังได้ที่ห้องทองกวาว1ค่ะ Symposium หมายถึงการนำเสนอหลายหัวข้อขนานกันในเวลาเดียวผู้เข้าร่วมรับฟังตามความสนใจค่ะ
For the ICUDDR's conference, coffee breaks are served all day on the first floor, and lunches will be available in a buffet or an option for vegetarian and halal, except for on day 3. Lunch will be served in boxes, and no coupons are needed. You'll just need your badge. Wi-Fi access are on the signs on the walls for every meeting room, and together with the QR code to scan and give feedback for our sessions that you attend.
สำหรับการประชุมวิชาการวิทยาศาสตร์การเสพติดของไทยที่ชั้น2แห่งนี้นะคะอาหารว่างจะเสิร์ฟเวลา 10:15 น.และ 14:30 น.ของทุกวันอาหารกลางวันจะเป็นแบบบุฟเฟ่ต์พร้อมเมนูมังสวิรัติและฮาลาลสำหรับท่านที่แจ้งความประสงค์ไว้ล่วงหน้ายกเว้นวันสุดท้ายของการประชุมที่จะเสิร์ฟอาหารแบบกล่องโดยไม่ต้องใช้คูปองค่ะเพียงทุกท่านแสดงป้ายชื่อห้อยคอนี้แก่เจ้าหน้าที่รหัสการเข้าใช้สัญญาณอินเทอร์เน็ตไร้สาย Wi-Fi แสดงไว้บนป้ายติดผนังของห้องทองกวาว1ทองกวาว2พร้อม QR Code ทั้ง3ท่านเพื่อนำทางท่านเข้าสู่บทคัดย่อและ Presentation ของผู้นำเสนอในแต่ละหัวข้อเข้าสู่หน้าดาวน์โหลดเอกสารจากเว็บไซต์ของการประชุมและนำท่านเข้าสู่ Google Form ประเมินความพึงพอใจของท่านต่อการประชุมครั้งนี้ค่ะ
First aid services will be on-call nurses available in the front counter of the first floor. And thank you to the Shanghai hospitals for kindly providing this. For further information or assistance, please look at the badges, people with badge numbers with the S, which means staff, and we will be right to your service. I'm sure that in these 3 days, the interactions, you will be learning from all of us.
บริการปฐมพยาบาลพร้อมพยาบาลผู้ช่วยได้จัดเตรียมไว้ณเคาน์เตอร์ชั้น 1ขอขอบพระคุณโรงพยาบาลธัญรักษ์เชียงใหม่ที่กรุณาให้การสนับสนุนในครั้งนี้หากท่านผู้เข้าร่วมประชุมต้องการข้อมูลหรือความช่วยเหลือเพิ่มเติมใดๆโปรดสังเกตป้ายชื่อตัวอักษร S หมายถึง staff แล้วทีมจัดการประชุมของเราจะดูแลทุกท่านค่ะดิฉันหวังไว้เป็นอย่างยิ่งเดี๋ยวนะคะเรื่องหูฟังค่ะ
Thai to English translation headsets will be available outside of the second floor. You will receive them and you will have to leave your name card or passport in exchange for a headset to be returned at the end of the sessions.
ค่ะในส่วนของหูฟังนะคะได้จัดเตรียมไว้ให้กับผู้เข้าร่วมประชุมทุกท่านตรงทางเดินตรงบันไดนะคะโดยท่านสามารถแลกหูฟังเพื่อรับฟังภาษาที่แปลจากอังกฤษไทยหรือไทยอังกฤษนะคะได้ที่โต๊ะทางเดินด้านหน้าค่ะโดยรบกวนท่านวางบัตรประชาชนพาสปอร์ตหรือนามบัตรเพื่อใช้ในการติดต่อประสานงานและขอรบกวนคืนหูฟังในส่วนของวันต่อวันด้วยนะคะค่ะดิฉันหวังไว้เป็นอย่างยิ่งว่าใน3วันนี้จะเป็นช่วงเวลาที่ดีในการเรียนรู้และสร้างเครือข่ายทางวิชาการวิทยาศาสตร์และการเสพติดสำหรับพวกเราทุกคนค่ะค่ะในการนี้ค่ะขอเชิญขึ้นสไลด์เลยค่ะ Plenary 1 ค่ะค่ะในลำดับต่อไปนะคะขอนำทุกท่านเข้าสู่การประชุมหัวข้อแรก Plenary 1 ในห้องทองกวาวแห่งนี้นำเสนอหัวข้อสถานการณ์อุปสงค์ยาเสพติดระดับโลกโดยคุณเบเนดิกต์ ฮอฟแมนรองผู้แทนระดับภูมิภาคสำนักงานว่าด้วยยาเสพติดและอาชญากรรมแห่งสหประชาชาติสำนักงานภูมิภาคเอเชียตะวันออกเฉียงใต้และแปซิฟิกประธานของหัวข้อคือดร. เควิน มัลวีผู้อำนวยการ ICUDDR ค่ะ
Next, we will have a special plenary 1 for the global state of drug demand reduction, presented by Mr. Benedikt Hofmann, Deputy Regional Representatives, United Nations Office Drug and Crime, and Regional Office for Southeast Asia and Pacific. Chairman Dr. Kevin Mulvey, Executive Director of ICUDDR. Dr. Mulvey, I'll hand the controls over to you.
Okay. May I ask Mr. Hofmann to please join me on the stage? We're now beginning our joint conference and our plenary 1, which will be in this room. Following the opening ceremony, Mr. Benedikt Hofmann will be presenting on the global state of drug demand. Benedikt Hofmann has recently been designated as the UNODC Deputy Regional Representative for Southeast Asia and the Pacific in Bangkok, Thailand. Prior to this, since 2020, he was UNODC's country manager for Myanmar, responsible for all UNODC programs and operations in that country. Previously, Mr. Hofmann served in the Office of the Director in the Division of Operations in UNODC's Vienna headquarters, where he focused on strategic program planning, enhancing UN partnerships, strengthening impact of the UNODC field operations around the world. Before that, he oversaw UNODC's program development and management in Eastern Africa, as well as the Middle East and North Africa region. In 2015 and 2016, Benedikt was on an earlier assignment in UNODC's regional office for Southeast Asia and the Pacific in Bangkok, leading the monitoring and reporting efforts of their activities, covering particularly organized crime, illicit trafficking, as well as challenges related to drug abuse and terrorism. Before his time in Bangkok, he had served in various capacities with the UNODC headquarters covering programs in Africa, the Middle East, as well as Afghanistan and neighboring countries. It's my pleasure to introduce to you all Mr. Benedikt Hofmann from UNODC.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mulvey. Distinguished speakers, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, everyone. Sawadee krap. It is my distinct honor to address you at this important conference on behalf of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. Today, we gather to reflect on the theme of this year's conference, which is growth and progress in a post-pandemic world. As we delve into this topic, the recently published World Drug Report reveals some alarming statistics and trends that not only demand our immediate attention for all of us that work in this field, but that are also very relevant to the discussions over the coming 2 days. In 2021, the global drug landscape witnessed an unprecedented expansion with over 296 million people using drugs, which is a 23% surge over the past decade. Even more concerning is the 45% rise in the number of individuals suffering from drug use disorders over the same period, reaching now 39.5 million people. The COVID-19 pandemic aggravated this situation further, hindering access to vital treatment and services. Many countries reported a decline in the number of persons in drug treatment between 2018 and 2021. Only about 1 in 5 people with drug use disorders received treatment in 2021, revealing disparities across regions and varying quality of care. UNODC is committed to the advancement of the health and well-being of humanity as enshrined in the international drug control system, advocating for a balanced approach to drug policy that emphasizes both supply and demand reduction as agreed by member states during the 2016 special session of the United Nations General Assembly. To this end, it is imperative that we address the root causes and consequences of drug dependence. Social and economic inequalities continue to fuel the drug phenomenon, jeopardizing public health and human rights. Glaring disparities between regions, urban and rural settings, and different subpopulations exacerbate the harms caused by drugs. Harm reduction interventions, especially regarding synthetic drugs, are inadequate and fail to address the comprehensive health and social consequence of drug use. Young people are particularly vulnerable and heavily impacted by substance abuse disorders. Governments often aim to address this through expensive and fear-based strategies, but this has not proven effective, nor is it cost-effective. Evidence-based prevention interventions hold the key to building resilience among children and youth and fostering their overall development. Ladies and gentlemen, the East and Southeast Asia region has experienced significant changes in the drug market with the rise of synthetic drugs as well as a revitalization of the opium economy in the Golden Triangle. Addressing the plight of communities and farmers who resort to opium farming amidst economic hardships is crucial for curbing cultivation and production and promoting sustainable livelihood and development. At the same time, however, the synthetic drug market continues to expand and criminal organizations remain highly adaptable, posing major challenges for law enforcement efforts. This reality makes punitive-based strategies all the more ineffective. Community, individual, and societal development needs to play a more prominent role if we hope to be more effective in our responses. We must also never forget that behind every statistic lies the story of human suffering. Compulsory treatment in so-called rehabilitation centers remains a prevalent response to drug use and dependence in the region. Forced treatment centers, often lacking legal due process and scientific medical assessment, do not align with a human rights-based, evidence-informed approach to drug dependence treatment. UNODC firmly supports voluntary and community-based approaches, combined with medical and psychosocial support. Since the first joint statement issued in 2012, where 11 UN agencies came together to call for the closure of compulsory drug treatment centers, and to 2021, when the most recent publication on the status of these kind of facilities was released by the United Nations, our joint positions on this has been very clear. Forced treatment and rehabilitation is not the solution. Dear participants, International cooperation and partnerships play a pivotal role in effectively addressing the global drug challenge. Collaboration among governments, academia, civil society, and international organizations is essential for developing evidence-based strategies and sharing best practices in demand reduction efforts. The valuable insights provided by research and analysis from universities and institutions are vital in understanding the multifactorial causes of dependence and identifying effective interventions. While data and research on the various components of drug demand exists, there are still large information gaps across key regions in relation to the scope and scale of drug use. Harsh drug laws further reinforce this, as fear and marginalization force people further into the shadows. Timely and accurate data are indispensable in tailoring effective demand reduction efforts and measuring progress towards attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. The international standards on drug use prevention remain the most comprehensive resource on effective prevention aimed at early intervention programs, empower individuals, and particularly the youth, to make informed choices. Tackling the underlying factors that contribute to the development of problematic drug use, such as poverty, social exclusion, and lack of opportunities, is equally critical. To achieve effective demand reduction, we must challenge the stigmatization of drug users and their families. We must recognize that addiction is a health issue, not a moral failing, and promote empathy and understanding to create a more supportive environment for seeking help and support. Ladies and gentlemen, the COVID-19 isolation period taught us that leveraging technology is crucial in addressing problematic and dependent drug use. Embracing innovations like telemedicine and digital platforms enhances treatment accessibility, data collection capabilities, and monitoring of drug trends. We found too in this period that multi-month dispensing of medication for maintenance therapy, for example opioid agonist therapy, was feasible and yielded positive outcomes for service delivery, personnel, and clientele. In addition to physical accessibility, it is important to understand and address socioeconomic barriers to accessing drug treatment. Community-based treatment services aim to create comprehensive linkages between health, law enforcement, education, employment, and social welfare, ensuring that those in need receive the appropriate services within their communities. In this regard, policies are needed to ensure law enforcement can play a positive role in promoting service uptake, rather than preventing it. Protecting vulnerable populations from all the harmful effects of drug use requires a concerted effort from all parties involved. Civil society plays a pivotal role in advocating for evidence-based policies and supporting and implementing responses, in particular at the community level. This not only includes complementing and sometimes leading institutional provision of treatment and harm reduction services, but also awareness raising and prevention efforts within communities. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we see continued growth in the challenges related to drug supply and demand around the world. And while some progress has been made, more effective responses require a comprehensive approach that addresses the interconnections between health, human rights, development, and security. By addressing underlying factors, promoting prevention, investing in treatment, and fostering international cooperation, we can build a healthier, safer, and more resilient world for future generations. We highly commend the International Consortium of Universities for Drug Demand Reduction, with support from the United States government, which should be recognized, for convening this gathering and contributing to the global discourse on how various actors can and need to contribute to make all this a reality. Special thanks from our side to Dr. Apinun and also Dr. Mulvey and their teams for organizing this event today. Finally, let us remember that drug demand reduction is not merely a mission, it's a moral imperative. Together, we can create a world where individuals have access to evidence-based drug use prevention and treatment of drug use disorder, and communities can flourish without the negative health and social consequences of drug use. UNODC remains committed to collaborating with all stakeholders to realize this vision. Together, let us make a difference. Thank you very much.
We're going to do a few questions if they have them. I hope this, oh, it's working. We have a few minutes for any questions for Mr. Hofmann, if you'd like. But we do need an audience participant to hand out a microphone. Hi, Dr. Lara. Thank you, Verna. So if you have any clarifying quick questions or comments, please raise your hand. We have a couple of minutes for this before our break, and then I'll have a couple of announcements before we end this session. Dr. Bart.
Thank you so much. I'm Gavin Bart from Hennepin Healthcare, University of Minnesota in the United States. Certainly the United States, we have faced for several years now the rise of illicitly manufactured fentanyl and fentanyl analogs. You mentioned the increased concern about synthetic substances and also the rise of the opioid economy again in the Golden Triangle. Is there any signal yet as to whether synthetic opioids may expand more globally and replace some of the agricultural production of poppies? It's just so unreliable to be a farmer these days, and you have massive laboratories already producing methamphetamine in nearby countries. It would be very easy to convert them to make synthetic opioids. Are you detecting anything or developing concerns or plans about that?
Thank you very much for the question. I think, the short answer, there's always a short and a long answer, right? And the short answer is no, I would say, at least not within this region. And the reason I say this is, and now comes the long answer, obviously, is that, of course, we have been seeing a change in the patterns of the drug economy in this region. Again, I'm talking mainly about Southeast Asia and the Pacific and East Asia now. But the same applies also to some extent to other plant-based drug economies. But specifically in this region, what we've been seeing is a significant shift from plant-based drug production, mainly opium in the Golden Triangle, to synthetic drug production. But when I say this, we have been seeing mainly a shift towards methamphetamine production and not so much towards other substances that you were referring to, fentanyl and others. From our perspective, as far as we can tell, we are not aware of fentanyl production in this region. I know there is a tendency at the moment to focus on fentanyl in the general discourse, and I think when it comes to other regions, obviously the situation might look very different. But looking specifically at East and Southeast Asia, fentanyl in a way has not arrived yet. And one of the main reasons for that probably is that the level of supply via methamphetamine, whether it's crystalline or Yaba tablets, which are now purchasable by a few cents basically in some parts of the region, it's just the surge in the production of these drugs has just been so massive that there appears not to be a significant need at the moment for other forms of synthetic drugs to come in. Now, whether that will always remain the same in the future, I think that's a big question, and I don't have an answer. I don't think anybody in this room will have an answer. And it's definitely something, especially given the global situation and also the interconnectivity and the growing interconnectivity also between criminal and organized groups involved in this kind of business, that we are definitely watching with concern and that we will continue to monitor. But specifically for this region at the moment, yes, there is definitely a displacement, but it's not fentanyl, at least not here. One last thing I would want to say, when you're saying it's to have farmers is kind of I don't know the term you used, but in a way it's something difficult to manage, and I think that's quite right from the perspective the organizations and the people involved in sort of large-scale drug production and trafficking. And that's partly the reason for this shift that we've been seeing. But at the same time, if you look at it from the perspective of the farmer, actually opium, for example, talking about this region, can be a quite logical choice of a crop, especially in crisis situation, as we've seen with COVID, and then in Myanmar with sort of the political situation and the economic meltdown in the country there, right? So that's partly why now we're seeing also this resurgence of the opium economy. And again, that does not change so much the overall dynamic that we've been observing over the past few years with the shift to synthetic drugs, but it really also reflects the economic and development realities that the people in the communities in some of these traditional opium cultivating areas face.
I think we have time for one more question or comment. Several questions came up, so Werner, where are you? Let's do the three if we can. 2, 3.
Thank you very Thank you very much. So when you are talking about the farmers, so I'm Sailong from Myanmar. So to be specifically, I'm from the Golden Triangle. So for you, my question is, UNODC, do UNODC have any strategy so to expand, to provide the alternative livelihood support to opium farmers? Because in Myanmar, so we estimate that there are between 200,000 to 300,000 families rely upon the opium income for their livelihood. So for UNODC project, so I'm not sure it maybe just cover a few hundred or a few thousand households. So it's just quite very small. So do you have been developing strategy or effort to expand the outreach of that UNODC AD project coverage?
So Werner, if we can get the other questions as well, and then we can just have one response. Oh, you have a mic? Go ahead, Robert.
Robert Aley, University of Adelaide.
That was number 2.
The global financial crisis has created, I think, a crisis in confidence of international cooperation, that member states are looking internally for solutions and not necessarily looking for partnerships because they see them as potential threats. And in the context of the global warming situation now, which is presenting a threat that many governments are finally accepting and realizing is real, and the need for urgent attention. My question is, what process of advocacy will UN provide to enable a re-establishment of dialogue to establish adequate, sustainable, meaningful funding to respond to the problem of substance use globally? If we don't have international cooperation, we are not going to learn and move forward. But I'm very concerned that in the other pressing priorities that countries are facing, they're turning their attention inwardly and they're refusing to accept the need for collaboration, either in a bipartisan or a multilateral way.
Please.
Thank you. I'm William Crano from Claremont Graduate University in the U.S. I was encouraged by your strong advocacy of prevention and the need for it in really facing some of the problems, almost intractable problems that we're facing. And yet, looking at support for prevention research, it looks like a flat line for the past 15, 20 years. it just hasn't done much. Most of the money has gone to interdiction and also to treatment, which makes sense. I mean, you've got to take care of people who are sick, but it makes some sense to me to prevent people from becoming substance use dependent in the first place. Do you see any trends to that in your job as to more pushing for more substance use prevention approaches in the societies that you deal with? And also, if so, could you tell me how you do it?
Thank you very much. Oh, do we? No?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Willie from, well, the devil's side, Asian Harm Reduction Network, Myanmar. First of all, I would like to remark that the only fentanyl we currently see in Myanmar, you also see in Thailand, by the way, is in happy water. Outside of happy water, and we reach about, I don't know, 60,000 drug users in total, about 25,000 injectors in Myanmar. Nobody's using fentanyl because they have the best heroin in the world, right? They have the China White. So I think we are aware of it, but fortunately we don't have the American nightmare as yet. But we are aware, trying to find out if it becomes more available or not. I have a question though on how can you do, somebody tell me how to advocate for demand reduction in a country that is in civil war, where there is no law enforcement anymore for drugs, there is only enforcement, definitely not law. It's full with PTSD, poverty, and you have the best drugs available. How you're even gonna talk about demand reduction, because oblivion is the best way to be currently in Myanmar, especially upcountry. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll keep it relatively short, I think. That's the request. I'll go through it consecutively, but on the question of the livelihood support to farmers, I think, I mean, we can maybe discuss it separately as well, because it's not necessarily the main topic of the conference here, but just to say that, you know, of course, as with many of these things, there are plans and strategies, but then there are realities that I think, you know, override some of these, and in particular when we're looking at the Golden Triangle and specifically at Myanmar, we're looking at a very specific situation which plays a strong role in determining questions around especially expanding programming and bringing more people into programs. And while we would very much want to do some of these things, we, you know, from the UNODC perspective at least, and there are others doing this kind of programming as well, but from the UNODC perspective as well, I think we're quite mindful of not, you know, overstretching what we're doing under the current circumstances. The other two questions on the funding, maybe I can, and sort of the international support and cooperation, maybe I can bring them together. Of course, I mean, we are I think you know, you used the word in a crisis of confidence in international cooperation, and I would argue that that's not just a result of sort of the financial crisis and financial implication of COVID, etc. But it's, to be honest, I mean, a bit the elephant in the room, also part of the current geopolitical situation that you know, we're all looking at around the world, right? And so I don't think I have any short answers or probably even any good answers about how to fix that. But I do think it does point to the increased importance of having exchanges like this here, for example, of having different actors involved in the conversation, be it academia, be it civil society, etc. I mean, look around in this room. Here you have a lot of people with different nationalities, from different backgrounds, from countries around the world, right? With different experiences coming together. So I'm not saying that that will resolve all the issues that you were referring to, but I do think it is an increasingly important part, and I think it will continue to increase in importance. And I think we all have to ask ourselves, okay, when we do go back to our different countries, you know, how can we contribute to sort of pushing those who have more of a say over resources, let's put it this way, more to the table. On the question of prevention, I think I fully agree. Sorry, the funding for prevention, I do fully agree. I mean, it's a bit linked to the previous one, but it's something that we've been struggling with over the past, decades. From our perspective, I don't know if many people know, but UNODC is also a project-based organization essentially. So we ourselves struggle and have struggled in the past with advocating for and realizing funding for prevention, and not just prevention, but also the treatment side of the spectrum, right? That said, though, I do think we are seeing some changes in that. I can definitely speak from my particular experience. For example, looking at I was previously posted in Myanmar, as Dr. Mulvey was saying, where we do see an increased interest by international partners in working that area, and I think the same is increasingly the case also in other parts of the world. Simply because I do think, for all the talk at international conferences, many of you have probably been part of CNDs, etc., and the sort of the building consensus as part of the UNGAS process that I was mentioning, that emphasizes more a balanced approach that also looks at demand. For all this talk, I think we are slowly seeing a shift where I think countries are seeing also in the reality that they're facing every day, that the sole focus on reducing the supply side just doesn't get the results that they're hoping to see, and it's not a quick process, and it's not something that changes from today to tomorrow. But I do see that there is more emphasis on that area of our work. Now, the very last question, I'll make it very short, on the advocating for demand reduction in a place like Myanmar. I agree, and that's a big challenge. But that's, for example, where we really see, you talked about the I don't see Willie anymore, but you talked about the absence of a government structure of institutions, etc. I mean, that's where really civil society organizations, NGOs, come in, and that's not a perfect solution, because having these organizations, community-based actors, etc., work without an institutional framework around them, I don't think, at least from our perspective, that's an ideal solution. But I do think that a lot of good work is being done by a lot of these actors, and I think you personally know a lot about that as well. Now, one thing I would say, though, is that yes, of course, the easiest in a situation like what people are seeing in Myanmar, a crisis, a humanitarian crisis, an economic crisis, a security crisis, a political crisis, the easiest for people would be to say, okay, they just turn to drugs, and it's very difficult to tell them that that's not, what you should be doing. But actually what we do see, especially in working, for example, in camps for internally displaced people who are, have just been displaced by conflict, there are actually a lot of people arriving to these camps, especially parents who are very concerned about drug use, especially for younger people. So it's not just that everybody's saying, okay, let's just throw it all up and take drugs because that makes our life better. I think there is a strong will of people there to find other ways to deal with the situation other than drugs. But I do agree, drugs are just often the most easiest available there. I'll leave it here. Sorry, wasn't longer than
perfectly okay. I would like to thank Mr. Hofmann for his remarks and for his presentation. I would like to remind everyone that at 11 o'clock is the beginning sessions for ICUDDR on the first floor. Break is outside, and the Thai 12th conference is on this second floor. So please stretch your legs, get some coffee, some tea, and again, I just want to say welcome to what I believe will be a great 3 days. Thank you.